Oh, 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 oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. On Sunday mornings, our Chinmay Mission Cleveland teachers gather for a satsanga. This is their training, and Sumanji tends to this, but yesterday I did. He's celebrating his 1 year anniversary, wedding anniversary. And I was sharing with our teachers, the more quiet your mind, your inner world becomes, the more empathetic you become. To be a teacher, especially a teacher of happiness, one of the most important qualities is empathy. How does one become empathetic? By quietening their mind, their inner world. We are completing verse 649 today. That means there's only 50 verses left of the entire Bhagavad Gita. Are you feeling this training in the form of the quieter you are, the more empathetic you are? How many of you have felt since you've joined Meaningful Mornings, Bhagavad Gita through Meaningful Mornings, that you are more empathetic? There's a lot of hands up. Lovely. Think of this practically. How do you train in empathy? Such a subtle, valuable emotion or narrative, but we're feeling it. So Meaningful Mornings is training. Teachers get trained, realtors get trained. We are also training. Chapter 18 shares the intermediate practices make advanced practices, which makes perfect. Yoga makes sannyasa, which makes moksha. This chapter is about practice. Intermediate practices, advanced practices. Why? This is the final chapter. It's a valedictory address. Somehow, through a false positive, I was a valedictorian of our high school. And so when the principal and vice principal met with me and shared that I have to share with everyone else, they had instructed me, what would the final message be for all of these students and parents who are leaving this school, and share accordingly? And you know by proof that this chapter is about practice because there are many, many, many ladders. If you see a lot of ladders in a home, in a space, you know construction is going on. They're trying to make that home or space better, I'm reviewing the ladders that are seen in this chapter, starting with verses 7 to 9. The first framework shared in this chapter, a framework that's encouraging practice, its focus is on tyaga. Tyaga is renunciation, particularly renunciation of results. A review thought for all of us. When we engage in yajna tapadana, not for any other reason other than it's right, then renouncing results will be natural, effortless. The next ladder, verse 20 to 22. This framework is on jnana, the vision that you live by day, year by year. Our vision naturally should be to unite. Yesterday was such a robust day. In the morning, we had a workshop on safety of society. In the evening, we had a workshop on the culture of giving. One of our team members had shared that all of our Chinmay Mission Centers, all of our communities should unite in the name of mental health. It is an epidemic in America and the world. Often this leads to gun violence, domestic violence. He had shared millions of us should be united in this purpose. And he reminded me, I believe it was 2013, I was facilitating a young adults retreat in Washington, D.C. And it was the 50th anniversary of the Million Man March. And there was more than 50 of us that were at this retreat, and we were at, I think it's called the Mall in America, that area. And we were wanting to absorb the aura of that reunion 50 years later. And we all had our retreat t-shirts on, and someone saw us. And he came up to us and said, "Who are you? What are you doing?" We shared that we're seekers, we're trying to invoke and evoke oneness. And he was so happy because he was at that original Million Man March. And he wanted a photograph with us. He was happy that 50 years later, there's still some effort towards uniting. I tried to find that photograph to screen share with all of you, but I didn't have enough time. I'll still try to find it for you. The next ladder is verses 23 to 26. This is not on jnana, but karma. If there's a vision, then there's a mission. The mission is more about taking that vision and acting on that, hence karma. A reflective thought for everyone. We tend to feel that another person's life is easier. How many of you feel that? The other person's life is easier. Now, if everyone thinks that, that means nobody's life is easy, or everyone's life is easy. And this is why Sri Krishna has shared, it is better to fail in swadharma than to succeed in paradharma. It is better to fail in your own responsibilities than to succeed in another's responsibilities. As you're reflecting on your mission, whose mission is it? Your mission. This is your mission. Focus on it. Invest in it. This is what's best for you. And now the fourth ladder, tyaga, jnana, karma, now karta. Karta is the separation. Obviously means doer, but why is there a doer? Because there's a separation from infinity. Vision, mission, separation. This ladder is in verses 27, 28, and 29. 27, 28, 29. And I hope I'm getting those verses right. Yeah, no, I have it wrong. It's 26, 27, 28. I've misspoken the verses. Please hear me out again. In terms of karma, it's 23, 24, 25. Karma is 23, 24, 25. Karta is 26, 27, 28. Okay, everyone? 26, 27, 28. I'm rechanting this verse. Yesterday was a bit chaotic. Mukta sango naham vadi dhrityutsaha samanvitaha siddhya siddhyor nirvikaraha karta satvika uchate. I'm taking the fourth quarter and going backwards. In the fourth quarter, what is being described is the doer who is filled with quietness. Yesterday I had mentioned that such a doer really doesn't have doership. They are feeling divinity. But please reflect on this accurately. If there's a guna, that is a quality like quietness, it is still limited. However, the doer that's filled with quietness is so near to divinity, that momentum will take them to not being the doer. And that's why last week I had shared part of our seeking is acting, part of our seeking is allowing. The notion of momentum is where you stop acting and you just allow. For someone who's jumping, it's not like you're Super Mario Brothers or you can jump in the air, right? It's just you move forward. You have to allow that. And if you try to act, you actually slow yourself down. Third quarter, siddhi, asiddhi, nirvikaraha. Whether one is successful or unsuccessful, they are unshaken. To be able to live like this, to not be affected by success and failure, one has to be a long-term thinker. The more long-term you are in thinking, even take this in terms of investments, one is less emotional then, moody, impulsive. In our Thursday class, I had shared with everyone, one who is noble doesn't allow wrongness. And so even if they tell someone that you're wrong in terms of your thinking, speaking, acting, they're not concerned about them being liked or not. They want rightness in the long term. They want that relationship to be long term too. Second quarter, samanvitaha, they're filled with determination and inspiration. This is their value. Their value is inside. So they're less concerned with valuables, which is why I had mentioned they use materials rather than being used by materials. The first quarter, their life does not revolve around aham, that is I-ness, their mukta sangha, nor minus. I'm reading to you a paragraph from Pujaswami Chinmayananda. Then we'll get into the next verse, but it's simple. Once you've tuned into the sattvic aspect of this ladder, the other aspects we don't need to know as much. An actor or agent of the above type is one who suffers the least dissipation of his energies, and so he successfully manages to bring into the field of his action the mighty total possibilities of a fully unfolded human personality. the sattvic agent strives joyously in sattvic actions, guided by his sattvic knowledge. His is the most enduring success, and the world of beings is benefited the most by the inexhaustible rewards of the love labor of such prophets. If one were to think about how they would want to be described, it would be such a description. Verse 27, 26, 27, 28. This is the ladder we're in. Ragi karma phala prepsuhu lubdo himsatmako shuchihi harsha shokanvita karta rajasa parikirtitaha. Joy. Here's the translation. Passionate, desiring to gain the fruits of actions, greedy, harmful, impure, full of delight and grief. Such an agent is said to be rajasic. We should only reflect on this, on what not to do. But if you're reflecting on sattva, that is quietness or doing, you will naturally leave this rung, this step. 2 quick reflections. In our Subodha Vedanta class yesterday, I was describing our organs as openings. An opening means there can be an input and an output. Those who are filled with aggressiveness, they're not careful about how to use this opening. They're not diligent about what they listen to, what they feel, what they eat. One more reflection coming from our Subodha Vedanta class. The raw that the students were given, it was to write down false promises they make to themselves. Those who are filled with aggressiveness, they promise themselves that they're going to be like this, but they lie to themselves. They actually don't follow through with that. So these are more reflections on this verse. From inspiration to application, your application was to rate yourself in terms of vada. Is it more important for you to be right or for life to be right? Please share your analysis. My analysis is what helps me to focus more on what is right rather than who is right. The who is going to go away. If I'm right today rather than what is right, 50 years from now, I'm not going to be here. That's why the what supersedes the who. And if one can live like that, their score will be higher. It'll be 100. Your application for this morning is, tomorrow we will have a special meaningful mornings for Bhagwan Rama's Jayanti. Do something extraordinary for his birthday. This year is especially special because where he was born has come back to him. Do something. I'm not saying think something. This chapter is about practice, so do something extraordinary. We will gather at 7:30 a.m. for this celebration. Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Be joy.